Scott Taylor, the Data Whisperer, here again, live from the floor of Data Universe at the DataVengers Deep Vibe booth. And I'm talking now with my data brother from another mother, Malcolm Hawker. Malcolm, great to see you.
Likewise, always a pleasure to spend time with you.
Always. How many times have we interviewed each other?
I don't, this is our first time. It's like the first time. Every time I'm with you is like the first time because it's always fun. But we've interviewed each other many times.
Many times. For a little background, Malcolm and I traveled the world together telling a data story about master data. I was the why, he was the how. Tell the people what you're doing, what you're up to.
Thank you. I'm the head of data strategy with Profisee Software. We sell MDM, Master Data Management.
MDM, yes.
Yeah, not to be confused with mobile device management.
No.
We are Master Data Management.
There's kind of representative of some of the challenges we have in the MDM space.
We solve the problem of multiple data silos, multiple versions of the truth.
So you have this wonderful framework about the creation of buzzwords. You were talking about creating nomenclature, terminology in the space. Share this.
Yes, I call it the semantic pedanticism feedback loop. That's a mouthword, that's a mouthful. Semantic pedanticism. We like to create new things and be a little pedantic when maybe we don't need to create new things.
Maybe sometimes we don't really need. Yeah.
Sometimes we don't need another letter in CDAIO or CDAI. Sometimes maybe we don't need a new definition for something that already has a definition.
Tell that to all the vendors in here.
That's part that's part of it.
Yeah.
That's part of it. Vendors like to invent new things because, frankly, when it comes to data, a lot of what we do is evergreen. A lot of what we do is kind of meat and potatoes. It's governance, it's structure, it's definitions, it's tables, and a lot of the things that we do don't change that much. So when a vendor is trying to differentiate themselves to make them sound new and exciting and hype-worthy, they'll create a new word or they'll create a new buzz and they'll say, hey, there's this thing called
whatever.
Yeah, I don't want to name names, but
just use Analytics Graph Hub Fabric Mesh.
The Analytics Graph Hub Fabric Mesh.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely right. So we like to create new names. Then the analysts kind of pile on, and I was an analyst, so I'm guilty on this. The analysts will pile on because they like new things, because new things help sell annual subscriptions to their services. And if there's more new things, and if you're a data leader, you think, oh, there's that new thing, I better go figure that out, and I'll call my analyst to help me understand what it's all about. And then it just kind of feeds on itself and grows bigger and grows.
Enterprises start to pick up on it.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
And they go, oh.
So that is the semantic pedanticism feedback loop, and it just grows and grows, and until it runs out of steam, and then we invent new words.
Then you get a new
one. And it renews itself. The circle of life is complete.
It is now. But now you can just add Gen AI.
Yes.
That's like as Aaron Zorns used to say, lemony fresh. You just add that to anything. Now with Gen AI.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we did that. Analysts have done that. We called it augmented whatever, augmented data management, augmented governance. It's governance now with AI.
Now with AI.
Now with generative AI, not to be confused with regular AI. This is generative
regular AI.
Yeah, this is important.
What about is regular AI still around?
Sure.
Yeah,
it's regular old AI.
Yeah. People are telling. I know that some people are telling the business that they're using AI, but it's really machine learning.
Oh,
not to be.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And they just got it fooled. It's like it's a lot cheaper.
Well, gosh, I mean, the elephant in the room, of course, is AI, and it's real. The hype is real. There is a transformative opportunity here that we need to figure out sooner rather than later. It's been about a year. Go back a year ago, and I was hearing a lot of people talk about, AI, and that sounds great and that sounds amazing, but I can't use my data to train AI models. And we figured out in a year that, you're not going to be training AI models because you don't happen to have 6,000 GPUs kicking around and several extra millions of dollars that you can invest in something that's arguably kind of become commoditized. There's a lot of great models out there. The biggest of the big companies are inventing the models. That's fantastic. But how you will be operationalizing AI is through the applications you use every day. Through your BI platforms, through your CRM applications, through your spreadsheet applications. You're going to be interfacing with chatbots. You're going to be interfacing with co-pilots to ask questions about your customers or your products or your assets, your whatever, and you're going to be using AI-enabled chatbots to do it. And the question that those chatbots, or the data that those chatbots are going to be interfacing, or maybe interfering,
Maybe interfering.
hopefully not interfering.
Hopefully not interfering.
Hopefully not interfering. But the data they're going to be interfacing with is your data, is your internal data. So yes, you do need to get your data foundations in order. You do need to focus on the basics. You need to get those things right. Not because you're building and training models, but because you are going to be using chatbots and copilots everywhere across the organization. So that's most certainly something that is very real, and companies are trying to figure that out. Right? Okay, I've got to figure out the AI thing, and I've got to check that box, and I've got to show that value, because companies that are figuring it out are driving transformative value. But I still have to get my hands around governance. I still have to get my hands around MDM, master data management, around data quality, around data integration, all those things. So it's a walk and chew gum. I need to chase the AI thing because it's real, but I also need to be able to focus on foundations, and how do I find that balance? And I think that's what CDOs are really struggling with right now, is finding the balance.
That balance has always been necessary.
Yes, that's why what's old is new.
They're a lot higher now, right?
They're way higher.
A lot higher. The exposure's a lot higher. So it's
they're way higher.
That tightrope is thinner and over a bigger canyon with no net.
Yeah, and what we're seeing, I do have to give credit to my old employer, Gartner. What we saw a couple of weeks ago at their conference in Orlando, in their keynote, they were really stressing, hey, 97% execution, 3% strategy. That sounds counterintuitive, because we know data strategy is important. We know we need a roadmap. We know we need to understand how our data strategy aligns to our business strategy. Those things are important. But right now, what we need to be doing is putting shovels in the ground.
Get it done.
Get it done. Now, we need to do it responsibly. We need to do it scalably. We need to do it in a way that aligns to our governance policies. So maybe AI isn't right for all use cases, but maybe it's right for some use cases. Maybe we can limit it to internal use cases, like using AI to interpret our employee handbook, or put a chatbot on top of our HR software to answer questions that you would otherwise have sent to an internal HR person. These are just one of the zillions of potential use cases you can use, but how do I do it now? How do I show to our board, how do I show to our stakeholders and our shareholders that we've got our hands around this and we've got a strategy around AI?
Malcolm, it's always great hearing your thoughts. I always learn from you every day. Where can people find out more about you, follow your stuff, talk about your podcast?
Yep.
Let them know how to get more Malcolm. How do we get more Malcolm?
Thank you. I appreciate that. Really two ways. One, of course, is LinkedIn. There's only 3 Malcolm Hawkers on the planet, and if you search Malcolm Hawker, chances are pretty good on LinkedIn you will find yours truly.
Look like you, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to probably look like me, and I'll probably have your post that I'm linked to and all that other stuff. So LinkedIn, please connect with me on LinkedIn. The other way, check out my podcast, CDO Matters. So if you're on Spotify, Google, Apple, you name it, your podcast provider of choice, that's another way. And lastly, through my company, Profisee.com, Profesee.com. Tons of resources, white papers, you name it. Coming soon to a town near you. I am on the road constantly. We're doing road shows in Boston, Atlanta, Chicago, New York, Dallas, and more to come. Yeah. So wonderful stuff. Hope you can connect with me.
Well, thank you, Malcolm. I want to thank Malcolm for sharing his thoughts here. Dynamite speaker, excellent expert in the data management space. This is Scott Taylor, Data Whisperer. We're here at Data Universe, and we'll see you next time.